All right. Now, we welcome back to the show Brett Velicovich, former Army Special Ops Intel analyst, founder of Power Us, and Marc Thiessen, Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Brett, I'll begin with you because we heard from Scott Bessent last night on the economic fury, and I think they're succeeding. The blockade is succeeding. He's seizing, offshore assets, banking assets that all these Iranian thugs have tried to put aside because they've been stealing and looting from the Iranian people. And I think this could be, I don't know, the media, per usual, is against, they're against America. They're for Iran or whatever they are. They don't understand what's going on, Brett. But I think it's really taking its toll. And I think in the meetings today, President Trump is very satisfied with this blockade. There's probably more combat coming, but he's satisfied with the blockade, don't you think?
Yeah, you're right, Larry. And it seems to me that our military maximizing the effectiveness of these blockades to starve the regime of cash may just be more devastating in the long run than another night of airstrikes, because the economic reality inside Iran tells the real story. You have reports of collapsing currency, shrinking oil exports, internal warnings that the regime cannot sustain prolonged pressure, all point to the same conclusion. America's strategy is working. Tehran's leadership can issue these threats and the propaganda all they want, but behind closed doors, they understand the trajectory. They are losing control of their core economic foundation. They've got tens of millions of oil barrels stuck on tankers that can't go anywhere. They can't even seem to tell us who's in charge, because maximum pressure right now from all angles like this doesn't just weaken a regime externally. It creates these internal fractures that limit its ability to project power abroad. And they're shouting threats, frankly, because they're feeling the pressure. They're issuing statements trying to look strong. But the reality is they're getting squeezed from every single direction. I see that their strategy right now seems to be this desperation disguised as defiance. Their economy is strained. And Iran, frankly, it's clear their power has always been built on this access to cash and chaos. That's the hard truth. If we cut off the cash, we cut off the ability to fund proxies, destabilize their neighbors, and project influence, it's going to start to shrink. And that's why this pressure campaign matters so much. It doesn't just target Iran. It weakens their entire network across the region. And it's clear the Iranians are not just negotiating because they want peace now. They're negotiating because they're running out of money. Yeah, they're running out of money. They're running out of resources. They're going to face probably some more military combat. There's a little more work to be done there. Marc Thiessen, I wrote a piece called Unconditional Dictation a couple of nights ago. I don't even like the word deal. I mean, agreement perhaps, but there has to be unconditional surrender here. President Trump will basically tell the Iranian whoever to take out a blank sheet of paper and write this down. 1, 2, 3. And we know what that's going to be, ending their nuclear capability and their missiles and so forth. And then we'll open up the Strait of Hormuz, but we will be in control, the United States. Now, Marc, we've got some, I don't know if you saw this, the Harvard-Harris poll, Harvard-Harris CAP poll. Maybe we have it up on the full screen. Okay, I can barely see that, but 74%. This is a pretty respectable poll. I say pretty. It is a respectable poll. Mark Penn presides over it, Clinton Democrat. Okay, what do you got? 74% U.S. currently winning in Iran. 74% should prevent Iran from obtaining nukes. 66% say Trump should insist on all major conditions in negotiation. And finally, 57% say they approve of the blockade. Now, this is a good poll. It's a well-constructed poll. It's not a Democratic leading poll. And here's the thing. This is almost, we talk about 80-20 issues. Closing the border is an 80-20 issue. Voting rights is an 80-20 issue. This is becoming an 80-20 issue. I know a lot of polls don't agree with this, but I think this poll's close. I know the McLaughlin polls too, other polls. I'm just saying this Congress, Democrats want War Powers Act starting for tomorrow, Mark. They lost again today, 50-47, as I understand it.
This is no time to get cold feet. If the Democrats want to be the pro-Iran party, I guess that's their business. But the public, the voting public, is not with them. The voting public is with President Trump. And this Harvard-Harris poll, I'll bet you, is going to be the beginning of a whole string of polls that show that Americans believe that we must never let Iran have a nuclear weapon. What do you think about this? War Powers Act, Iran-backed Iranian Democratic Party Act? What's going on here?
Well, first of all, what Donald Trump is doing is statesmanlike because it actually hasn't been polling very well as of yet. And he's doing it anyway because he understands that history will judge him on the success or failure of this mission, and he intends to achieve it, right? But success begets approval. And if this operation is a success, as it is becoming a success, is becoming more apparent that it's a success to the American people, approval will increase. And I think that actually Donald Trump ought to finish the job here and then campaign on it in the midterms and point out that the Democrats opposed it. This is actually going to be, by the time this is done, this is going to be a winner for Donald Trump in the midterm elections. The other point, Larry, because you went through all those great stats in your opening riff, you know, I'm writing a book right now on the Miracle on Ice. And I'm looking at the 1970s. And if you remember in 1979, during the last Iran hostage crisis, we had gas shortages. 90% of the gas stations in New York City were closed. We had sky-high interest rates, sky-high inflation, the dollar collapsing, wages going down. The economy was in tatters. And that was what the Iranians were doing to us. That is exactly what the blockade is doing to Iran right now. That is what we are doing. We have flipped the script on 1979 and the Khomeini revolution, and we're doing to them what they did to us 47 years ago. We're crushing them. Now, that's not going to be enough to end this, because the one thing we know about the Iranian people, or the Iranian regime, they massacred at least 43,000 people in 2 days in January. They don't care about their people. What they care about is survival. And the blockade doesn't yet threaten their survival. So he's going to try. All Donald Trump needs to do, 14 more days of military strikes. That's where we were when he did the ceasefire. The ceasefire was a great idea because what it allowed him to do is it allowed him to steam ships through the Strait of Hormuz to implement the blockade. And it also allowed him 3 weeks now to restock. Jack Keane says that we now have double the firepower that we had at the start of the war. And so now finish the job. 14 days, finish all the targets, declare victory, keep the blockade in place, open the Strait of Hormuz, and campaign on it in the midterms and say the Democrats were opposed to this. This is a resounding foreign policy success for the United States of America.
I agree. It's a sleeper issue. It's a sleeper political issue. And if the Democrats want to be the pro-Iran party, fine. That's up to them. That's their business. But this is going to be a sleeper issue. I just want to put in one parenthesis here. Brett Velicovich. We talk about America's economy, America First economy, and a strong economy throws off the resources. Your own company, PowerUs, company you're associated with, you're producing all these unmanned missiles and drones and so forth to help us beat Iran and defend America. Just give me 30 seconds on this because I didn't want to let it pass.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm one of the founders of PowerUs, and we build, among other things in the drone community, interceptor drones. So these are small, rapidly scalable drones that are meant to defend against Iranian Shahed attacks. And we're able to produce these in the thousands. And these are the types of systems that are the future of modern warfare, being able to protect American soldiers, being able to protect a lot of our critical infrastructure in the U.S. And those systems are, the type of systems that we need downrange overseas, protecting American forces every single day to stop the Iranians from being able to spread this terror.
Fabulous. Terrific stuff.
Hey, Larry, one other point.
Yeah.
One other point about your comparison. 1979. In 1979, we were a net importer of oil. Today, we are a net exporter of oil, which means gas prices going up is bad for consumers, but it's great for the American oil industry. We're making money when gas prices go up, and that means more investment into drilling and everything else. So we're not in 1979 anymore, friends.
Well, Reagan always said, my first boss, Reagan always said, strong at home, strong abroad. Weak at home, weak abroad. And Mr. Trump has got that down pat. We are strong at home and that is why we are strong abroad. We got companies like Brett's Power Us company. We got a whole economy that is being underrated by the lefty media, but it's doing just fine. Thank you very much, and it will do even better. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Brett Velicovich, thank you. Marc Thiessen, thank you as always.